Hello and welcome back to AshenCast. We are back, as I said, with a vengeance. And, of course, the big news that we're all trembling to hear is the fact that the game is out! After so many people have waited so long, we are finally playing the game that we're all here for. It's the reason for the entire creation of the guild and so many other guilds out there. So, allow me to introduce my guest this evening, my experimental new co-host, Behira, and our guest this week, Toxa.
Hello.
And we even have Officers Perisgift and Guild Leader Shadowed Sin lurking in the background.
Fearless Leader is here. Begin.
Lurk, lurk, lurk.
See, always keeping a hand on us. But now, I guess the first part of the agenda, obviously, is to say, well, the game is out! How's everyone feeling?
I'm
excited.
just happy it's finally here.
Like,
I
been
don't
a
think I
long
was
wait.
waiting as long as other people, but yeah, I was pretty excited.
What does it mean to everyone personally? I mean, I know a few of you have been waiting a very long time, while others have, like myself, I waited at best a month for the game. I joined the craze pretty late.
I think that I only waited about maybe 3 or 4 months. It wasn't as long as most of you.
I
For
came
me,
in
it was-
at BW3.
I've been waiting for this game since sometime 2007. I believe it was announced in the early summer, so about 5-6 years.
Since announcement for me as well.
So,
Did it live up to expectation?
Mm-hmm. That's the big question right there. Was it worth it?
Yes and no, because there are a few features that I do believe ANET is working on right now that, in retrospect, would have been really nice, such as the ability to our own channels or some sort of just the ability for officers to communicate with each other. The communication system is fantastic in a lot of ways, but some of the bugs, especially with the guild bug, has been quite frustrating for a few of us in the RP community.
And the overflow. It's terrible. It's getting better, but at the beginning it was unbearable.
There
It
are
was
some
pretty
changes
broken
that
at the
I'm-
beginning.
It was pretty bad. And there are some changes that I'm still looking forward to, like the personal the personal housing in the guild halls, and of course dueling that they're going to add in later. So, but overall, it definitely lived up to my expectations.
Apparently, a few days ago, they tweeted they're going to be adding sitting in chairs. I was like, oh, whoopee. Yay. I'm more interested if I
I'm
can actually
psyched.
make my own chat channels, or at least an officer channel. I just want to be able not to have to alt-tab every time I want to say something to the officers and communicate with them about a problem in Skype, because we don't have an officer channel. You know, and
They do seem to be
WoW,
missing
it's a
some
fantastic feature,
pretty
but in this game, it's like
basic
everything
things.
is just one channel. Yeah, there's also a lot of emotes and other things. A slash roll system. That is the one thing I'm really disappointed about. I mean, there's so many of us in the RP community who want to, some people will still not get into the RP combat thing, but a slash roll system, just the ability to go slash roll 20, slash roll 100, would just be really useful so we can publicly see it. Now, we've gotten around this by finding a dice rolling chat page that we can use, but that is something that was in Guild Wars 1. I believe it's still in Guild Wars 1. So it's kind of like, ANET, what were you thinking? I love you guys. But it's like, why? That's the biggest letdown for me. No roll system.
I think my biggest letdown is there's no first-person point of view, because I'm really into taking like screenshots, and I have to have people in it, including my own self, and I find that really frustrating.
Same here, actually. It's actually quite good. I mean, the number of pictures I've got, it's like, my stupid head's in the way.
I suggest doing slash sleep if you want to take a picture of something that'll put your character outside of the screen.
Yeah, I'm always waiting for like people to like wander by roleplay-wise and be like, "Why are you sleeping in the middle of the street?"
I'm taking a pitch. Slowly backs away.
That would be something nice. I'm a little confused about too. I think you can do first person in Guild Wars 1 too, so it's kind of again, it's like there's certain things in the first game that are there, so you know they can, unless maybe the new coding system, but I feel sometimes that maybe the game would have waited like another month. You know, some people probably completely disagree with me, but I think let's be honest, guys, they underestimated the amount of people that like their game, and they paid for it. Add new servers, first few weeks, horrible with connections and stuff. But it's better than other games, but I do think ANET should have been a bit more patient, and they paid for it, but they're catching up really good. You know, they're a good group to work with, but I do think this was a learning process for them, I hope.
Yeah, I think some really obvious features were either broken or missing, as we just covered. I mean, the trading post was down for the first, 2 weeks, pretty much, of launch, and groups were having major issues for the first week, and guilds were broken, so I do think they rush. I agree with you.
Did better than Diablo. You gotta admit that much.
Yeah, I think I played Diablo for an hour.
Then servers went down for the entire world. Ouch. But moving on, darlings, into the realm of the little shenanigans, because there is so much to this game that I was surprised about, especially Worldly World. I've got to say that right now. I have enjoyed that an insane amount. Also, quite good for nicking good RP gear, because some of the skins of the armor look fantastic. So, I mean, what about you guys? Any particular little incidents that stick out, be it RP or just general gaming? You know, what have you had fun with?
I love the jumping puzzles. That's generally what I'm doing, because it's a relatively small time commitment to go find it and spend some time doing it. So that's really fun to me. And Vistas are kind of like a smaller version of that, because I'm a map completionist. So that's what I've been really enjoying currently.
Small time? Some of those jumping pistols are sadistic. I mean, the Asura one, Stormy Station, Windy Station.
Usually the Asura one.
What? To get through this first stage is actually not that difficult.
It's just kind of funny when you're jumping around and you just see random people just falling past. Which of course led to numerous accounts of me yelling, "It's raining men." No regrets.
I've only done one, and I don't know where the other ones are, but I'll probably do them eventually.
I think they're great, and I think you should take people with you, because especially if you're on chat, you can basically laugh at each other's failings, because that makes it twice as fun.
Oh, it's so true. I mean, I was playing it recently, and I got through the entire Lion's Arch jumping puzzle in the dark, the works, diligently worked my way through. Also cheated a bit because the engineer's jumping ability with the rifle is brilliant for doing jumping puzzles, because all you hear is a scream.
The wrong path.
Oh no! When I got to the chest at the very end at I think it's Troll's End, where the dead et is, I double tapped W by accident and rolled off. Right in front of the chest. It was within clicking distance, and I rolled. And I know so many people who keep saying I really should just turn that feature off, but it's it just hurts, you know? But when it comes down to it, I mean, would you say the chests are worth it, or should you try and go for it early levels and grab what gear you can?
I don't think the chests are worth it, mainly because the gear's based on really low level, because if you're doing it at higher, the gear's going to be worthless. So if you're not actually going to enjoy the achievement of completing the jumping puzzle, it may just be a lesson in frustration. So I don't know.
How you guys? Are you look for those sort of puzzles, or at least seeing the end loot going on? Because I've gotten a few good cosmetic looking items, I'll have to admit, from a few of them.
I love the fact I can take a level 60 armor, transmute it, and wear it as a level 8.
That's brilliant.
It's a certain requirement.
I love
that is really cool, except you can't do that at 80. Because if you have level 80 gear, you can't transmute it, because I hit 80 and got new gear, and I now look extremely inappropriate for a heavy armor user, is how I'm going to put it.
But it depends on the
Naked.
stones you use. The green ones that you get for like completing maps and stuff, those don't let you transmute level 80 stuff, but the gold ones you get from the Black Lion Training Company and the chests will let you do that.
Oh, they're good. Yes, they're very good. I mean, it's the whole reason I've had a cravat all the way from level 1 to level 30. Cravats everywhere.
But I think the level 81s are only available through the trading for the Black Lion thing, right? Does anyone know?
I know Perry just said you can get them as certain chests. What chest was it, Perry? Stones?
Black Lion chests that you get as drops, you can get the keys as drops or from your personal story, and the Black Lion chests you just get as drops. If you open them, I've gotten around 20 of those gold stones out of the chests, and I've just been collecting them.
They're good.
Wow, you must be way luckier than I am.
I unlocked 3 chests, and it was actually mostly transmutation consumables, because that was fantastic. Because I love the fact the fact that they actually took the time to say most people don't like the look of some gear, but to add a transmute feature, it's like, wait, that's actually fantastic, and it's actually quite good for the RP community. Because some armor sets look ridiculous. Like I said, some high level, I mean, inappropriate. I'm assuming it's the classic female armor set in most MMOs. I am wearing the heaviest, strongest armor there is, a brassiere. Ringing any bells?
Exactly. Plus fishnets.
I love that. Quick, shoot her! She's gonna kill us! Oh god, I keep hitting the bra. Why? I don't know. It's the only part of it that's armored. But yeah, I mean, any other sort of particular things that are leaping out for people? Because World v World is one thing I've been rather enjoying, and when you actually when we aren't getting our asses kicked by Nether Peaks, which was rather embarrassing the first week, that some great loot you actually get and rewards. I mean, I leveled up quite a few times just in World v World, and I didn't even notice at first.
I haven't really got a lot of gear from PvP, but I've had a lot of RP through War vs. World, and I know we're in 12th place. I don't know how. I feel like we should be a lot lower because we struggle a bit. But I've had a lot of fun trying to mix. Yeah, I mean, I've had a lot of fun trying to mix RP and PvP. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
That could be rather fun. It's also quite fun when you realise someone out there's got the cow kill thing, so all of a sudden this cow just lands on an enemy plane, and you're just sat there like, what? What just happened? But anyone else find it quite amusing that when someone dies, everyone swarms around them like piranha trying to spam the impale button with the banner? It's pretty horrific to watch when you're running people down, because one person falls behind, it's like a swarm of piranhas suddenly just swarm around them, and everyone starts doing the emote to try and impale them. It's like, oh, Jesus.
It's the perfect time to get an interrupt off,
your traps.
I mean, I gotta admit, it's a fantastic sight when you actually see some of the siege weapons and people start coordinating. I mean, I even managed to see a siege golem in full swing, and I got to admit that was fantastic to see, because it's brilliant to see like a golem just attacking the gates and stuff. It feels grand. You feel like you're in a massive battle, and 1 minute you're winning, the next minute half your keeps are gone, the next minute, but it can be a bit one-sided on occasion, but at least they increase the map rotation so we're not up against the same people constantly.
Oh, yeah,
the main thing I had about... Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry about that. When your server is, organized and they're all focused on the same goal and communicating, it can look really epic, whether you're winning or losing.
My main thing is, it does seem like there's a lot of time when I did it, because I'm not very good at PvP, that I was basically running across the map to get to everyone, and you die, and then have to start all over again. That is, to me, just frustrating. That's not fun.
It's awful.
That's just...
It's awful. Especially when your group's not gotten all the keeps, so you don't get the second transportation thing, like to the center. It's like, have to run there again. That can be soul crushing at times, it really can. Especially when you're on your own, you're on your way somewhere, and you're thinking, I'll just go down this route. Next minute, you meet the entire enemy party coming the other way.
Yeah, and there's no way to get away. You might as well just stand there and let them take you down.
Yeah, everyone keeps jumping out with traps and all sorts. And it's kind of why I like the engineer a bit, because the random elixirs, like, you don't know what I'm going to do, and I don't know what I'm going to do. I just drink all my elixirs and see what happens. Which on occasions made some funny acquaintances, like I was stuck on the wall surrounded by people, drank Elixir X, turned into a tornado, flung everyone off the wall.
Both the rats from Chicken Run. Put your head between your legs and kiss your butt goodbye. Whenever that happens in frickin'...
Oh yeah. You wish you could just salute. I wish there was a salute emote or something along those lines. Just so you could just do that before you die, just a salute, you know. Make it quick. But no, everyone just swarms over you and tries to impale you with a flag. It's like, God, just do it already. Though I do like trolling a bit when I'm down, because the engineer ability has a pull ability as well as an explosive, both of which have an element of knockback. So if someone tries to impale you, hit them with the line, they fall over, they get up, try and do it again, hit explosion. You know, it's kind of like a last vain attempt, like, I'm not going down without a fight, damn it. Getting caught up here. I mean, there's so much to talk about, fantastic, and we've got plenty of podcasts in the future, hopefully, to discuss this sort of thing. So moving on to our main guest this evening, Toxa. Toxa Vanshiver. How do you pronounce the character's name? First things first.
Vanshiver, but everybody says Vanshiver, so either works.
Vanshiver, okay.
That's because you pick the German name and you pronounce it like you're an American. So everybody's going to go with the German pronunciation, not the random American pronunciation.
Well, I'm American, so...
Vanshiver it is, then!
You don't think it sounds better?
I'm going to pronounce it how you pronounce it. I pronounce it how the people who have pronounced it. That's kind of what we do.
What do you think, Leisure? What sounds better?
The way you said it sounds good. Sounds, well, like I said, the German version.
To be fair, this game does pronounce Jormeg as like Jormeg and the Jotun as Jotun, so I think Vanshiver is just fine.
Oh yeah.
Actually, I kind of noticed that with my character, oddly enough, actually. People seem to, like, different characters seem to pronounce it different ways, considering where they come from, which I find quite fascinating. It's like, the whole reason I've got Delamonte instead of Bellamont is because someone pronounced it that way, which I thought was interesting, because it's kind of good to see all the different dialects actually influencing RP. But yeah, before I go on, so, for the listeners, tell us, who is he? Who is this character? Who is this person you've poured so much time and effort into? What is your character?
He's the savior of the cartel. No, in all seriousness, he's a young man with abandonment issues, and he goes out of his way to please just about everyone, and it's gotten so bad that he wants to be someone that everyone needs. So his interactions with Peria's character, Ophelia, is probably going to be a lot different than when I RP with Serafina, because they're two very different kinds of characters. And when I RP with people from my house, he's different with them as well. He wants to help the cartel the best way that he can. He's also very ambitious, though, at the same time, to the point where he's done some pretty awful things that haven't been caught yet. I mean, anyone who knows the character, he's pretty squeaky clean. Like, you'd have to dig really deep to find out some of the awful things that he's done to be where he is in the short amount of time that we've had. So it's been, 2 or 3 weeks? And he's already a master or things like that. He joined the high society just because he wanted to further himself within the cartel.
Delicious little dirty secrets.
There's someone out there dirtier than Joe? Possible?
We're gonna have to do a test.
It might be a tie.
I really want to see this now.
Okay, dirty secrets off, everyone. Open them closets. So, I mean, so we got a rough idea of what it is. I mean, any particular areas? I mean, what sort of class? Is your class a big part of your character? For example, myself, I based Gabriel off the elixir skill set for the engineer. That's basically where he comes from. Check with Mr. Hydefield. So, I mean, for you, was that an important factor?
Oh yeah, it was actually the biggest factor. Being a Mesmer, I don't know the lore from Guild Wars 1, obviously, but I know that they're illusionists, and Toxa gives off the illusion to many different people that he's this kind and caring person, and he is. For the most part, he is a good person, but he'll do awful things if necessary to get what he wants. Like, as I said, I mean, I have a lot of RP contacts. I think it's getting to the point where it's too many to the point where I have to like keep notes of how he interacts with this person. So I think he has maybe, I don't know, maybe 9 or 10 different facades going on right now.
Ooh, many-faced god.
Stay away from Amari. He will ruin it all and make you go crazy.
No, yeah, I avoid Amari at all costs.
You can tell that's brave.
You mentioned high society. What is that exactly earlier?
The High Society is a small group of nobles that I didn't found it or anything. I simply I'm just a member. But we mostly try to do events, weekly events for the RP community. It originally was just supposed to be for nobles by nobles, but we can't really enforce that on the server. So we try to, do things for both, the nobles and the commoners. Obviously,
The common folk.
there are some
Oh,
the common folk. There are some nobles that just won't interact with commoner characters, and that's because they're RPing their characters in that way. So we try to facilitate both groups. We even throw chars in there, even though I really dislike chars. But we're mostly just trying
steady on the racism there. Don't start this again. Then he'll go on
Slightly
Solari,
racist.
and then he'll start going on about Norns, and they'll get him started on Black Norns. That's when he really starts getting ooh. JK community, don't worry. We ain't got a white supremacy movement, don't worry.
But OOC, we just try to make events for the community because there aren't that many people in it right now.
You've already organised quite a few, from what I've heard.
Yeah, like there was a ball. Could you maybe tell us a little more about that? Like what happened and stuff like that?
Well, I didn't join the High Society until after the ball, but I was there with Ophelia, and it was so crowded. The crowd was a lot bigger than the organizer thought it would be, and it was just a spam fest full of say. Like I had to apologize on my engine wall because I feel like I missed a lot of questions, a lot of whispers, and a lot of RP opportunities. But now that I'm there, part of the high society, I'm going to do my best to make the events a little more manageable and more often.
So then it's pretty much pretty much an easy thing to say. I suppose you're not a. Well, I suppose you don't consider yourself a light RPer then. I mean, it's quite evident that you've put a lot into this. So would you consider yourself medium or heavy when it comes to roleplay?
Heavy, yeah. I mean, there's some days when. Oh
no, go on.
There's some days when I, just want to quest or just not be in character, but I can't help it. I kind of have to RP. I feel like I'd be 80 right now if not for all the RP that I've been doing. Not to mention the IA stuff that Sin keeps throwing at me.
Lurking in the background.
Keep complaining.
I'm just kidding.
I'm gonna get 6 complaints just by saying that.
Oh. Moving on to another aspect, which is a combination of we've got a slight look at your character's background. So, I mean, could you go into a bit more detail about your character's background? Where you come from, the families, that kind of thing. Also, some of your out of character background when it comes to RP, because I've seen many people come on here who have either vast records of all sorts of RP they've been in, while others, like myself, have only been in a few games and mostly come from tabletop. So, I mean, any particular points you'd like to point out?
Well, Toxa is the way he is because he was abandoned as a child by both of his parents, and basically that's where his abandonment issues come from, because he felt like he wasn't good enough for his family. I mean, I haven't figured out why they got rid of him. I'll probably do that later down the line and have him kill them or something, because that's just the kind of person he is now. But he doesn't want to go through that again. So the very few friends that he has, he does his best to hold on to them I mean, he still argues a lot with Serafina, but I doubt that he would really ever let her go, regardless of how stressful she is sometimes. As for my RP background, I've only been RPing for 10 years. It doesn't seem like a lot. It really isn't. I know that I have friends that have been RPing a lot longer. I'm only 25.
I'm 20. I am 20. I have never RP'd for that long in my entire life. So that's a lot as far as I'm concerned. 10 years. Jeez.
Yeah.
If you count in the time you ran around as a child, you've been doing it longer. I do, so I'm up at like 15 to 16 because I was doing like RPing at the age of 9, making up worlds and fighting monsters with friends with sticks. That's roleplay, my friend. So you've been doing it a lot longer. You did
That's
it
right.
with that.
Does acting count?
Basically, roleplayers are people who just have overreactive imaginations, and instead of locking them away, they decide to keep having fun with it. That's why a lot of roleplayers are writers. So yeah, he's been doing it a lot longer than he says he has. Most of us have.
Pearls of wisdom, ladies and gentlemen.
So longer than 10 years. I honestly used to, and I feel kind of bad about saying this, I used to make fun of RPers. I just thought they were the biggest nerds and losers. And then I actually tried it, and now it's the main reason that I play a game. Like, I don't play for, the graphics or the fighting mechanics. I look at it, and if I can make a character, an interesting one, then I'm probably going to play it. Like, I've played some really ugly MMOs, but it was good for RP.
Cautionary
So
tale,
is most
kids.
of your background, is most of your background in game RP, or did you do forum or tabletop? How was that for you?
No, I've done tabletop. I played D&D and Shadowrun. I mostly started doing forum RP and Star Wars with Serafina and Albion and Marissa. They came from Star Wars with me. It wasn't a good time there at all. The game bombed, in my personal opinion.
That seems to be the universal opinion we hear on the podcast.
It's like
Yeah,
a
like, I
million
really
voices
wanted it.
cried out at once.
Yeah, I really wanted it to be good. Like, when I was developing my character for Star Wars, I thought that I was going to be there for, years and all that good stuff. But it didn't work out that way. It was a mixture of the game being a letdown and our guild being an even bigger letdown. So it was time to go.
That and of course the Way of Bacon, which is appearing in the chats all the time.
Yep.
That basically took over one of the RP servers. It was ridiculous. Well, that and the number of Sith I met who were all about the rage. I must conquer my rage. I am the most powerful Sith. It's like, yeah. And I'm doing my usual debauch noble. I really gotta get out of that, but they're too fun to play.
I love Gabe. I just haven't met him yet in game.
Ooh, well, expecting to be drunk and high. Actually, always expect him to be drunk and high. But
What do
yeah.
you expect from a bunch of nerf herders trying to play samurai Jedi? What's gonna happen?
True, it's true.
And yeah,
But
that's how
fun
you
while
confirm
lasting.
a nerf herder.
What's the equivalent in Guild Wars? Essen? I don't know. Speaking of which, random question here. A bit off topic. But does anyone else, or is it just, or am I going crazy? Does anyone remember the weird gazelle things called sheep in the beta? What happened to them? What happened to the gazelle sheep? I'm worried.
What zone was this?
Early beta
You
in the
mean
starting
the
area.
ibex?
Yeah,
They
in the
were
original
ibex.
beta. In the original beta, it just said sheep over them. I think it must have been a programming or something. It just said sheep.
I think enough people complained about not being sheep, which is kind of just stupid because how do you know what a sheep is?
Ah, see, we've got even confirmation in the chat. Flamingos became pink
Sure,
boas.
maybe that is a sheep. They just removed them. It became Moa.
But yes, sorry for the distraction there. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't going insane. But yes, moving back again. Well, for the most part then, before we go into more detail about the actual family line, the social stuff, because that's clearly a big part of your characters, what would you say sets your character apart from others? Because I've seen a lot of colourful characters in this guild and in the community as a whole. So what do you think, what would you say sets you apart from all those people? What makes you that fun person to RP with?
Well, I think what sets me apart is, and I think Sin will agree with me, when I was looking at the guild, I would always ask him, what do you need? What kind of character are you lacking? And he would always say, just make it what you want, because the cartel can fit any kind of character for the most part. So I think what sets Toxa apart is I made Toxa specifically for the voice. What's up?
Snake, what's wrong? Snake! Snake!
Sin.
Okay.
So yeah, I made Toxa for the voice because I knew that, eventually he was going to lead it. I don't want to sound arrogant, but I made him to lead the voice. And the voice is gone now. Yeah?
When it comes down to it, a master needs certain traits, so that actually makes sense to me. You build a character, if he's going to be a leader, you give him the qualities of a leader, right?
Right.
So sorry, do go on. I just wanted to make sure that was said because it doesn't sound arrogant to me. It's literally a case of if you've made a leader character, he's going to act like a leader. What else can you expect?
Yeah, I mean, I wanted him to start off, at the very bottom, which he did. I didn't expect him to get the master position so soon. I know a lot of out of character things contributed to that, but I would have liked for him to go from tier to tier to tier and then eventually become master. But I mean, I'm gonna run with it. I'm not gonna have him say, "Oh no, I won't be master." I mean, who would do that? Who would deny mastership?
Me.
Aside from Vexander and Gabe.
Too much work, man.
Yona didn't want it. Yona never wanted the master position. She's only kept it because the Shadow basically said, "Oh yeah, and if you quit, we're gonna kill you." And it's like, okay.
As far as Gabriel knows, the first master died, possibly to his hand. I'm not going to confirm or deny that. Then Legane disappeared. As far as he's concerned, that position's cursed.
Yeah, I think for the most part, all of the masters are cursed except for probably the hunt, maybe the blade. But the lore, voice, and coin have had some issues.
Rat King for life. Thug's life, man. Thug's life. Now, I'm going to hand over the old cat and nine tails here to Behira. Do you want to charge in with the house interrogation?
I suppose I can. Well, how about let's start with the name, because that's really the basis usually for me. Where did the name come from?
Well, that's easy. I'm lazy, so I have kept the same name for 10 years. There's probably a lot of... I posted a lot over the years, so there's probably a lot of Toxa Vanshiver accounts roaming the internet. I just can't let go of the name.
Well, then how do you find it translating from different worlds to other worlds? Toxa from, say, Star Wars to Guild Wars. What shifts do you have to make?
Mostly the personality. I mean, I couldn't use really Toxa Vanshiver too much if I was going to play in a modern setting. But I feel that it works in, a setting like this, or even a futuristic setting like Star Wars.
So, what is the goal of the house as a whole? Not just Toxa, but the house.
Mostly to make up for the mistakes that the house has made. The house was pretty much founded by a con artist. That's how they have their money. All those years ago, a con artist pretty much wooed a widow, and that's where his wealth came from. And then,
Old school
after
wealth.
she died, school wealth. Then after that, the family went on to do. They just weren't good people, and it wasn't until a few generations died off that Albion's character, who is the head of the house now, for now, until he steps down or, Toxa kills him. But anyway, they're trying to do the right thing. And so that's why the house is the way it is now in game. So, what was that? Never mind. I'm just reading the chat. All right, edit that out. Anyway, so basically they're trying to do the right thing. We do a lot of charities, which is also why I joined the High Society, to display what kinds of house they are. I'm probably going to get the other player characters into the RP community eventually when they feel comfortable. But yeah, that's why I do all these. Yep.
I was just sorry, cough now. I'll edit this out. My main thought there was, now that you're master of the voice, it does actually mention charity events. So can you see the two colliding? The High Society and the Cartel? Because it does actually mention we have a number of charities set up as part of the cover and things like that. And it does actually go towards various causes.
Well, the only reason I joined was so that they wouldn't collide. Because I wanted to have Toxa there so we could, relay everything that was happening in the High Society and their plans over to Zaraya, who was the master at the time. So it would never be a conflict of interest. And I told them O'Sealy why Toxa was there, and they thought it was awesome. So it never came to pass that the two factions would come to blows. I doubt it would. I mean, the High Society is just 7 nobles with too much gold in their hands that want to make themselves look better by throwing events in the city.
Those dirty little secrets.
Well, what is the structure of the house? Because you said that
the
you're not the head.
Probably eat them alive.
Yeah, obviously the people in the High Society are not. They're not fit to fight anything. What was your question, Behira?
Introduce Gabriel.
Well, I was just wondering about the structure of your house. How is it run? Because you said that Toxa isn't the head or in charge of the house.
Right. The oldest male usually runs it. It was supposed to be Albion Vanshiver. He was next in line. He's supposed to be the face and the voice of the house. That was our plan before launch. Obviously, anyone who knows Albion, they know that he really shouldn't be he can be the face of the house, just not the voice. I mean, he's very blunt and he's not very political. I mean, at the ball last weekend, and I think I'll let Peria chime in on this one. He embarrassed us. He was racist to Char openly. He was fighting with Char in the middle of the masquerade ball, and people were sending me whispers like, "What the hell's wrong with this guy?" And I'm like, I don't know. I don't control him. He that's just his character. It's the way he is. He's a douche. Can I say douche? I'm going to. I'm an SO. It's fine. Just edit it out.
It's fine.
There is no editing in this thing. It goes straight on. This is a adult. If people can't take it, then why are they listening to a podcast run by a gaming clan? It's not like this is the Goon Squad, though.
So I can say douche. Douche is fine.
You can say worse than that, considering most of our character concepts. Considering we're talking
probably
characters.
Say jive-ass motherfucker if you wanted to, but I'm just gonna say that now just to prove.
But we can also go back to the topic.
Thank you,
Perry still here?
Crack the whip. You've got it in your hand.
Yes, she's
Crack
still
it.
here.
Will you please tell them how bad it was with Albion?
Well, maybe it was bad for your character. Mine was amused because she's also slightly racist. A bit more than slightly, but he was tending to pick fights with Char in particular. I think over really nothing besides the fact that they were Char.
Sure, there's a lot of racist characters in here.
Well, the setting does seem to lend itself towards it a bit.
Yeah, and all of a sudden, Gabriel seems like a nice person. He's so high, he doesn't care. He thinks everyone's a pink elephant. See, drugs stop wars, kids. Take that home with you.
Legalize it.
So, the characters who are members of House Vanshiver, they're all biologically related?
Yes, all but Toxa. He's the adopted one. but they're all female. We might introduce some males later when we can figure out what the dynamic is going to be, and if they're okay with the dynamic of the house. Because if there is another male, they need to be okay with the fact that Toxa is going to do whatever he has to do to lead the house once Albion's time is up. And we've yet to find a male character that is okay with that. I'm a supporter of, permadeath, as long as it's not random. It has to be good. He doesn't have to go out like a hero or anything, but if Toxa is going to die, and I've lost characters before, it has to make sense, has to be planned, and it has to be meaningful. And I've yet to find a male character that is willing to play that battle with him. I probably will eventually, but it hasn't happened yet.
If you want to, I can always make Sam Vanshiver introduces himself as Chuck Finley, and he can be a former Seraph or a Shining Blade. I'll be your Bruce Campbell to your Michael Weston, dude.
I love Chuck Finley.
And suddenly, this whole podcast turned into a morbid dating site. What the hell happened?
Oh, wait. Speaking of dating, there is a date auction.
No. It's a reference towards Burn Notice, because his character is an honorable type, but who's willing to hook you. I need to get Joe into that.
Yes, I think I've heard of this. The auction. The little auction. Don't worry, not slavery. We'll deal with that, not him. But, but yes, do tell us. I think I've heard of this.
Yes, the High Society is hosting a dating auction tomorrow. It's going to be a charity event, an IC charity event. And basically, I think there's, I want to say 12 of us, 6 men, 6 women, that are going to be auctioned off. And I think whoever wins, they get, 30 minutes to an hour, in-game hour, with that character to do, whatever.
Raises
talk,
eyebrow.
quest,
Raises other eyebrow.
whatever. Several eyebrows.
They may not
Wiggles.
putting Joe in that.
But it should be fun. I'm kind of worried that Toxa is going to get
horrible things would happen if Joe was put into that. She'd probably put on the pimp hat.
the pimp hat. I'm looking forward to it. Oh, Seely. I'm horrified because this is Toxa's initiation into the High Society. So if he gets picked up by a Char, he has to go. Or an 8-foot Norn, he still has to go. So I'm just hoping that nothing bad happens. Obviously, he has a plan in place for a friend to buy him. She has a max of 2 gold. But if the bidding goes above 2 gold, then Toxa is pretty much screwed.
Ooh.
Is it actual in-game currency that's being used?
That's a good question.
Yes, it is.
Really?
It is. We're using in-game gold.
God, I wish I could see a gold.
So the house was pretty much an idea that happened randomly. When I first got into the community, I was very interested in Noble RP, but I couldn't find it, really, at the time. And it was so bad that I almost ended up joining a European guild just because they were based around a noble house. I think they were House Wolfheart, Sin? Yeah. House Wolfheart, or something like that.
Yeah.
And, I made a post on the RP community asking if there were any guilds that were going to be based around Noble House RP. Because I originally wanted House Vanshiver to be its own guild. Sin messaged me and he said that you can have any kind of character you want in the cartel. And if you want a Noble House, you can do that here too. And so I brought my idea to the guild as just, it was fluff. It was just part of his background. And then there were people that got interested. And, a friend of mine plays Albion, and then we got 2 more people who were going to play his sister. Then after that, we got another girl to play Albion's daughter. We even have, 2 more cousins in the making, so it picked off randomly. It was a shot in the dark, and it seems to work for now. They're very active in the community. I think we're one of the more noticed houses right now, partly due to the high society. And also, we have a new addition. Albion is engaged to vet. She was bonded. He paid off her debt, and now his aunt, Toxa's aunt, is now a woman that is probably the same age or maybe even younger. So it's been an interesting time.
So was tempted into the guild through intricate sweet lies from Sin, I suppose. Well, not sweet lies, you know, temptress. I'm just trying to call Sin a temptress. That's the whole point of this little statement. But it's fantastic to see you actually integrated. You heard. But yeah, so it seems you integrated yourself very quickly here, and as a result, you got lots of connections. I mean, I'm really surprised by that because I've only seen so many levels of RP, and this whole guild in general actually has taken the cake because I've never seen this many layers of people and this much experience from people, which is incredible. It's really fantastic to see, and even more so just to see actually developing.
Thank you.
Now, drawing into the final minutes, our darling listeners, we're opening it up for, we're opening it up to the floor. I mean, any questions, any burning questions, and it can be anything. It can be silly, it can be serious. Come on, throw everything at us. That goes for you too, Behira, because the whole reason I got you on here because you asked some fantastic questions last time. Anyone? Any burning questions?
I got my mind up.
I think it's crazy that Toxa's running a house, and then 2 weeks ago he comes to me and says, "Sin, do you want to form a house?" And I'm like, "Why?" He's like, "Because House Vanshiver is getting too big," and I asking me to like at 2 a.m. at night as I'm writing up the blog post for PAX in between drama reports.
But it took off, right? It took off.
Mm-hmm.
House of Mall is working.
It's completely different than House Vanshiver 2. It's crazy. That's a story for another podcast. We may actually cut in the next AshenCast, maybe, just because we should probably talk about the societies at some point. If anyone's interested, I'm going to put this right now. Yes, Ashenfolds is going through its like some things edition, and it's because we've had some issues with internal structure, and we've decided to simplify the guild further. And one reason why we have been talking about House Vanshiver is because they're going to be part of this rising faction in the guild that is taking the place of the 5 families. They're called the societies, and over time they're going to be taking control of the guild politically and become the cartel's new way of how political alignment goes. So the idea is basically that we're going to be recreating Westeros and watching the various houses battle it out on the political field live. So it's going to get really interesting.
Sounds like something for AshenCast. You can do a whole series. You know, it'll be like a campaign trail thing. Trying to recruit people.
I like that. This week on the Society, we're making our own television series. It's going to happen. Move over Game of Thrones. We're moving in.
Might need to do a third segment then. Because we already have AshenCast, we have Ashen Mythos. And we're going to do an entire thing about the societies. You know, like many things. I guess we could always open up with one of us going da 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 da. Sorry.
I can work sound bites.
Fine. Da dun da 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 dun da 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 dun da 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 dun da 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 dun da da.
Well, if you'd like me to do my outro. Well, darlings, this has been another AshenCast. Looking forward to see you. It's been fantastic to see you all tune in this week, and we hope to do it next time. And we're going to do an open shout-out. Hopefully we're seeing new adverts out there to say that perhaps you want to get your guild on the AshenCast. We're more than welcome to see many people, see what the RP community's up to. So, thank you very much, and see you all next time. Da dun da 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 dun da 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 dun da 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 dun da 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 dun da da.